everyone, welcome back to another Pays Project podcast. My name is Peyton. Today is October 24th, 2023. It is a Tuesday. I thought we could start out with my finished objects of the week. I do have quite a few. First, I finished the Tied Knots hat, and I will put the name of the designer on the screen. Here is a close-up. It is a gorgeous cabled pattern. And the yarn I'm using is Moontower Dye Works in Enclitius DK. And the colorway is Blue Fire. I left off here last week where this yellow marker is. So I have done all of this week. It did take me about a month to finish this hat. And that is because I primarily worked on it at bedtime or during my doctor's appointments while I was waiting for the doctor. It fits perfectly, and it's going to be cold here pretty soon. Next week it's supposed to be in the low 40s. So I'm very happy to have another hat that I can wear. I did decide to do a folded brim instead of a brim that was folded under and sewn down. I do personally like the look of the folded brim when I do double the amount of ribbing and then fold it up. It gives it a cleaner edge on the bottom. So I am very happy with how this turned out. I did 2 cable repeats and then I followed the crown decreases. So I did omit some rows and I love it. I did get this yarn at the Yarn Adventure truck, by the way. Next, I have a bunch of socks. This is the first pair. Let me grab my tags for these. This is Bite Dragon Horde yarn, and the base is Lore Fingering. The colorway is I'm So Glad I Left My Tower. It is an 85-15 superwash merino nylon blend. And hold on. I am in love with the color. It has really nice purples and yellows in it. And you may notice that the cuff of it looks weird. That is because I am doing an experiment. I added an elastic band that was measured to the right circumference to the cuff so that when it's on, it hugs the leg and doesn't slide down. I did add some stay stitches using my sewing machine in 4 different spots around the sock so that when the owner of these socks wash them, it doesn't flip, because that is really annoying. Also, if you hear walking in the background, that is my retired service dog, Maddie. She just retired, so it's still weird to say. But overall, I'm very happy with how these turned out. You may notice that there is only a contrast cuff and no contrast toe, and that is because I was more than halfway done with the toe before I realized I forgot to change the color. And so with the pair of shorties that I'm going to do with the leftovers, I'm going to do a contrast heel, and that way I use up that yarn. So very happy with how these have turned out. Next, I have these socks. And they are a little fuzzy because I have washed and dried them a few times. I made these for me. I hand dyed the yarn myself. I got the base from Wool to Dye for. It's their platinum sock. There we go. And I love how they fit. They turned out really well. They are a little bit long. And so what I'm going to do is take out 2 rows when I make another pair using this base, and pretty much any other base. I do like a 58 row foot instead of a 60, better I think. And The base wash and dries great. I personally machine wash and dry all of my handmade socks unless it's non-superwash because I don't need them felting. But I've never had any issues, and it helps the superwash shrink back to the right size because superwash does tend to stretch out quite a bit with wear. So super happy with these guys. Next I have these. This is Casual Fashion Queen and the colorway is Spiced Plum. It is a 75-25 superwash merino nylon blend, and I love the color. It is a little deeper in person. It is showing up more red on camera. In person, it is more of a plum color. I love how it turned out, and I love the variation in the colorway. I know the recipient is going to love them, so I will give those to her along with the other 2 pairs I made her tomorrow. And then finally, for finished objects, I have these gorgeous socks. The variegated section is Casual Fashion Queens, and Fox is the colorway, FAWKES. And the contrast is Cascade Heritage, and I'm not quite sure the name of the color. It was a mini skein we had at work, and I love how it has micro striped. These are both the same base, just different colors, and are super soft, but I think they're going to wear really nicely. So super happy with these guys as well. Those are all of my FOs for the week, and I might have gone through them a little fast. I apologize. I've actually already recorded most of this and then the footage corrupted. So I will move on to whips now. Alrighty, my first whip I have here is the Boxy Cape by Hoagie Locatelli, and I am in love with how the yarn is working up. The lighter color yarn is actually a fade from light gray down to black, and they're both Cumulus. The fade one is Cumulus Degrade, and the colorway is Poppy Meadows. And the other strand I'm using is black, and the name is Blackberry. It is so soft. It is a cotton nylon blend, and I am making size 54 for this. It is going to be for my mom. Let's see, where is my marker? Here we go. So here's my little marker. I've done from here up to here this week, which looks like a lot, but it's really not that much because the gauge is so big. This is one that I can really only do 6 to 10 rows a day on because it does make my hands hurt. I definitely feel like this is more of a product knit. I enjoy knitting it, but it's not my most favorite project I've ever done, but I'm so excited for the finished object, and I know my mom is going to love it and wear it all the time, so I'm very excited to finish this. I could potentially have the back done next week. I only have 26 more rows of the back and then the short row shaping. And then after that, I have the fronts, which are worked with only a small amount of stitches at a time, which will go a lot quicker. So I'm excited to get to the fronts and get that done. I am loving how the colorway is working up. I wasn't sure if I was going to love it a lot. With holding the 2 strands together, ideally I wanted to get enough of the same colored yarn, but we just didn't have enough, and I knew we were going into season change and it would be more difficult to order more of it. So I decided to go with 2 that matched really nicely, and it looks really great. I am happy we're going back into another dark stripe on the back, which will help break up the big section of the light. So that is how that is working up. I'm very happy with it so far. Next, let's talk about my bookish cardigan by Annie Lupton. If I could grab the right bag. Here we go. So last week I was working on this piece, and this is where my marker is right here. So I did all of this plus this since last week. So I'm very happy with how much I accomplished. I am making the first size of this, and I am making it longer because I like my cardigans to hit more down here. This one would have hit closer to right here. So I did add, I think 4 inches on, give or take. And I am in love with the colorway. The yarn is by Potion Yarns and the Temptress DK base. The colorway is Imaginary Friends. And I did go ahead and block this because I totally messed up on the neckline decreases. I read the pattern wrong and decreased more than I was supposed to. And thankfully my gauge was off by 2 stitches per inch. So it is still the right measurement at, at the top. And I did not have to rip out 42 rows of decreases, which would have been a little devastating, honestly. I was really stressed at first, and then I took a breath. I measured it to see where I was at before I blocked it. Measurements were looking great. My gauge is 4 stitches per inch instead of 6. And so it worked out, and it's not going to affect the structure. It didn't affect the short row shaping. So I'm really glad that I didn't panic as much as I thought I was going to. It is gorgeous. Here is a close-up. It has really beautiful cabling, which I know is hard to see on the screen, but I will insert a picture of the cables. I am absolutely in love with everything about this. I did also add extra ribbing on the bottom to make it a little wider. I ideally wanted to have both of the fronts finished this week. That obviously did not happen, but I still got a lot done on this, so I'm very happy with the progress that I'm making. Highly recommend you check out Potion Yarns. They have really great products there, and I think you can see, there we go, you can see the cables a bit better on this, but I will still insert a picture back when I said I would. I am so excited. This is both a product and process knit for me. I'm loving cables and the bobbles. The bobbles are done using a crochet hook, so those are a lot easier to do than knit cables, or knit bobbles, sorry. I'm a little brain foggy today. So that is turning out great. And then finally, I have the very beginning of the Napa shawl, and I will put the designer on the screen. It is really fun. It has a little eyelet detail on the edge, and I like how this is worked up. So this is going to be the tip of it, and then you just do increases along the edge. It is garter stitch at the moment, and then I do know that there is some ribbing sections throughout. I have obviously not done a lot of it, and I did hand dye the yarn for this. I've done all of this this week, so all in all I have done quite a bit, but I just haven't worked on this guy a ton, which I don't really know why, because I do really enjoy working on it, and it's a nice mindless knit. So there are 3 colors in this shawl. This, if it'll adjust, which I don't think it's going to.
I didn't get that. Could you try?
There we go. This is the first color. It is a nice purpley pink. This is the second color, if it'll adjust. There we go. It is a nice deep turquoise, which it is deeper in person than it is on screen. And yes, I do have my cakes in old socks. They're clean. They're just really good at keeping the cake compressed and keep it from collapsing, which I will make some yarn cozies for these. And then this is the last color, which is a nice dark purple. It does have quite a bit of blue tones in it, but I'm very happy with how all 3 turned out. These were originally dyed for the West Knits MCal, but I decided to use them for something else, and I am much happier with how this is looking. I've decided I like the concept of an MCal, but I also like to know what the finished object is going to look like before I put a ton of work into it. I love, and I'm pretty sure I might be pronouncing this wrong, but the designer for the Napa shawl, I think, is named Justina, and I love her patterns. I have many of them saved on my favorites in Ravelry. Actually, this is by her as well, this hat. I have a cardigan pattern that is by her that I did make most of, and then I decided I did not want to steek it, which it is not made to be steeked. I will start there. I was not wanting to purl a ton, so I decided to steek it. I did not use the correct yarn, so I ripped it out and made the Amy cardigan by Hogi Locatelli, which I showed in my last episode. But she makes really great designs. I'm very excited to have this shawl. It'll be really nice for when I'm sewing. My sewing area is in the basement, so in the winter it can get a little chilly down there. So this will be nice to help keep me warm down there. And those are all of my whips. I have a good amount, but it's manageable. I like to switch up my projects as I work on them because I do get bored. I do have ADHD, so I need constant changing to keep my brain engaged, which 3 or 4 whips is my ideal amount. So let's move on to acquisitions. I don't have any yarn acquisitions this week, which I will next week. I know I said I wasn't going to buy more yarn until I've used up a couple of sweater quantities, but I decided to support one of the smaller businesses that was at Woolen Folk because I'm sure most of you have heard about what happened there. And so I bought a sweater quantity from Frogget Yarns, and hopefully it'll be here for next week. I'm very excited for that to come. But anyways, I did go fabric shopping yesterday at my local fabric shop, Jackman's. This fabric here, which is absolutely gorgeous, is going to be a project bag. I have enough for a couple. I'm going to play around with designing my own. I have an idea of how I'm going to do it to make it flat bottomed. It is going to be a drawstring project bag, and I just am in love with this fabric. I was going to get it to make a shirt, and I might go back and get some more for a shirt. I will just have to see how I like it in an object. I'm just a little worried it's a little too busy, which is kind of ironic for one of the fabrics I have, but I love this fabric and I'm excited to use it. Next, I have this fabric. It is a nice brown and has some variations in it, which I really like. I am going to be making shirts out of the next 4 fabrics. I have a couple of different patterns. I have the clove pattern, the Yarvis top, and the jazz top, and I will put each of those in the description box below with a link to where you can find them. I wanted to get some nice neutrals to make shirts with that I could wear with my cardigans that I have planned. So this was a really nice one. Next, I have this gorgeous purple fabric, and let's see if the camera, there we go. I love the cross hatching in it. It's a very nice lilac color, and I think I'm going to do the Yarvis top in this. I'm not 100% sure though. A lot of these will be a more what I'm in the mood for project instead of like specifically planned out. This I think will look really nice with my bookish cardigan that I'm making, so I'm excited to have that. Next, I have this fabric, which you may recognize from last episode's skirt. I loved the fabric so much that I wanted to do a top out of it and a skirt out of it, but I didn't have enough. So when I was there yesterday, I found more, and I was so excited because of how much I love this fabric. It's going to make such a beautiful top. I'm so excited. I definitely am doing the Yarvis top with this one. It's a nice v-neck top, but it is more of a shallow V. There are 4 different options. There's button-ups, there's different deepness of the v-neck, etc. So I'm very excited for this. And even though it is a busy pattern, it'll go with a lot since it is a nice neutral gray. And then finally I have just some plain old gray linen. It is a cotton linen blend and was very well priced. It was $12 a yard, which if you know anything about fabric, it can be rather expensive, especially if you're doing a linen or linen blend. So this will make a really nice top. I may also do a skirt. I'm not 100% sure because this could also make a really nice skirt as well. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do a top, but once again, I will decide what I'm in the mood for with this fabric. I'm trying to make more handmade items to wear in my day-to-day life, and I'm trying to also choose fabrics that'll go with other handmade items that I'm knitting as well. So I am very excited to get all of this sewn up. It'll take me a while to do, Sewing does take quite a bit out of my body, but it is something that I love. I've been doing it since I was 2 years old, and I've fallen in love with garment making the past year or two. So I'm very excited to see all of these turn from just fabric into actual wearable items. And those are all of my acquisitions. I did get some matching threads for some of these, but I mean they match, so I don't really feel like I have to show them. Anyways, sorry if this podcast was chaotic. I hope you guys have had a wonderful day, and thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. If you feel like it, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode.